Hey, welcome on in, folks. Welcome to a High Heresy show. This is your boy Drew, aka Supreme Heretic. I have a couple of guests with me tonight, as always. My pal Wes Moody 10, host of the Wes Moody webcast. We've got my esteemed friend, Mr. E, aka Drew Love. He is the creator of the Drew Love comic book, which, by the way, you can get right now.
The Captain Love comic book.
The Captain Love. Yeah. This is like,
I know it's all confusing.
I know.
It's
I'm so used to just saying True Love. It's like, yeah. But you can get the Captain Love comic book. I actually have the Captain Love comic book, and it's a great book. So it's one of the CG books that you can buy that is really enjoyable. Nice to see all my friends in the chat: Culture Casino, Toxic Man Flu, Epic Beard, Tehillim 29. Got some guys that could give Sasquatch a run for his money in here. Well, Epic Beard and apparently Toxic's ex-wife can too. but oh man, Tehillim said Tehillim, I don't know if he gave you a compliment or not, Drew.
Adam Sandler with Mr. E and Drew. I don't know. I really wouldn't even know how to take that. Adam Sandler, when he was young, wasn't a bad looking dude. Now he just looks goofy.
All right, Parrot Head, what's up?
Wait, I know what to say. Whoopity-doo!
As long as you're not saying I look like Adam Sandler.
Parrot Head says hashtag beware the Drew. Yes, indeed, sir. God, man, that hashtag is going around. So tonight, of course, we are talking Sasquatch, and we're going to give a serious look at the legend and everything else because, given everything that we've heard lately about unexplained phenomena, especially with UFOs and things of that nature, I mean, it figured it would be only a matter of time before we visited this topic. And I actually like this topic. I've been kind of fascinated with the whole legend behind Sasquatch since I was a kid. It's funny. I saw this movie.
Harry and the Hendersons?
No, it was way back.
That's my favorite Sasquatch movie. Wow.
No, it was way back, you guys. I don't know if you remember this, and I don't know if you remember this chat because I'll be dating myself here when I talk about it.
I hear about dating yourself. You can go back and go blind.
Yeah, I've been dating myself for the last 6 weeks, so join the club.
No, unfortunately, it involves
hashtag beware the hand.
It involves my age, and this movie was made, I believe, in the late 70s, The Legend of Boggy Creek, and I saw that movie, and that kind of interested me in the whole legend of Bigfoot. And then there was also remember back in the day, In Search of,
with Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. Right.
And there were some really compelling episodes of In Search of that also got me into that. And I remember I would always, every time I'd go to the library, I'd always be checking out books about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and reading up on it. And, I've always it's been one of the things that's fascinated me over the years because if you think about it, if you go by the theory of evolution, I mean, technically, it could be a missing link.
It could be inbred hillbillies.
Yep.
There's some weird people up in the woods in the Northern California area. There's some frightening people. In fact, there are rumors that there's a family like the and I have not come across them, but I've heard people who have come across them that remind of like the actual Texas Chainsaw Massacre situation. Like they have a bunch of just junked cars and all kinds of things that look like people have come there to visit and never left. Yeah, yeah. There's scary stuff like that. That's real life stuff. That's in the Northern California mountain, woodsy areas. So
Parrot Head confirms Legend
Probably
of Boggy. Yeah, Legend of Boggy Creek came out in 1972. Interesting.
are you saying you saw it in the theaters?
probably have scarier people in Lake
No,
County.
I was
but,
born in
you know.
'74.
Scary people where? In Lake
So
what?
you probably have scarier people in Lake County, but in the mountains for sure. I mean,
But I've always thought, I mean, there's multiple theories out there. It could be this creature could be missing link, sort of branching humanity to apes. It could be an animal that just has very human-like characteristics. That could be one of the missing great apes. If you pay attention to some of the research that Dr. Jeff Meldrum has done, he subscribes to the theory that it could be an uncategorized species of great ape that is just, it just has never been cataloged or anything like that. And, I've always thought about that. Yes, our Sasquatch and Yeti could be the same ape or cousins. They're very similar, except the Yeti seems more suited and adapted to the cold.
Yeah, kind of black bear, polar bear kind of thing. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. So they're definitely in the same family, cousins, if you will. Now, it's funny because I've got this sort of thing here. It's this report that I pulled up, and since I'm from Ohio, I pulled it up. It's in Warren County here in Ohio. There's a guy that says, he saw one walking by the railroad tracks and whatnot. There's another person that said it was like a big black mass similar to a bear, but it stood on two legs. There was a gentleman that recounted an encounter where he went into an old strip mine looking for badger dens, and on the way out, on the other side of the mine, there was one that was foraging and turned around, stood up, and looked at him, and basically the prevailing theory among investigators is they follow waterways. Their habitats usually are close to. They're heavily wooded areas, but they also have creek beds, some sort of body of water by there. They always follow the water because, similar to us, they need water as well, and
Most creatures do. Yeah.
and they tend to also go after fish and stuff like that. So, you also have heavy deer populations in the wooded areas, and they have a penchant, obviously, for deer, and they eat grubs and things of that nature as well. But they tend to when they travel or the biggest hotbeds of sightings have small bodies of water or medium-sized bodies of water, and it's pretty fascinating to try and think about what exactly this creature is.
Well, So there's a couple of theories on what it could be. Some people think that it is, a lost ape-like creature or a missing link. And I was watching Joe Rogan the other day, and he actually proposed the theory that that what it is, it's bears coming out of hibernation that have lost a lot of body fat, and I wouldn't doubt that. I haven't seen one of those, so I don't know what they look like. But I mean, they stand upright. Maybe, but I'll tell you, man, I saw something very strange when I was driving up to Washington State from California here on I-5, run across the freeway, and I swear to God that thing was a Sasquatch. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's
It didn't move like a bear. Let's put it that way.
I mean, they tend to be very tall and muscular too. I mean, these things are in the 7 to plus 10 foot tall range. I mean, they're
Yeah, that's
there's
about
been
what it looks like.
there's been reports as I believe as high as an 11 foot tall.
Well, so like if you ever travel like the tourist spots, near Truckee or outside north of Reno, that kind of stuff, you will find a lot of little touristy Bigfoot style things where they have cast molds, they have photographs, they have all kinds of like Bigfoot like memorabilia, stuff that they're trying to sell. You know what I mean? Obviously, because it's all for sale, it's kind of hard to believe that any of it's real. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the people who swear by it, who are there to tell the stories of what they've actually seen, have some really interesting stories. The rumor about the Bigfoot smell is something that's a real thing, and I would assume that smell is kind of like wet dog intensified. You know what I mean? They also say that the Bigfoots that they've seen move lightning fast, like super fast, and that it's hard to tell how tall they are because they're never standing straight up. They don't walk like gorillas, but they're not standing straight up. So, there's a lot of really weird things about the whole, like, if you were to sit and think about it, it's like it's kind of hard to just say, oh well, it's a big hoax, it's big and fake, because you think about a species that was smart enough to realize that humanity's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So they just want to avoid it, like, because any interaction that they've, like, maybe they're able to talk to each other, maybe they're intelligent enough to communicate with each other, and they're telling each other, look, these guys have guns, they're trying to they kill nature, they kill the deers, they kill these, they kill that. Stay away from these people. You know what I mean? So.
Well, you can clearly, you can tell from some of the audio sounds that people have captured. Hi, Ensign Ricky. It's good to see you, buddy. Also, welcome, Dago Outlaw. Good to see you, my friend. You can tell from some of the sounds people have recorded that these creatures are intelligent. They communicate with one another. They have a language of certain sounds that they're communicating that, hey, there's people around, whatever, there's danger here. They also will they're also known to exhibit territorial behavior. If somebody invades their territory, they'll send messages. I mean, there's accounts of people saying that they've had huge boulders that a person like you or I could never even pick up, throwing at them.
Right.
Rocks like that. There's tracks where 9 times out of 10 no human would be. So that sort of rules out the hoax factor that somebody's just taking one of those poles with a big foot on it and stamping it down in the mud. I mean, there's tracks and places that people wouldn't ordinarily be. So there's a lot of compelling evidence. At the very least, it's just inconclusive.
I wouldn't call it evidence. There's a lot of compelling material.
Okay, fair enough.
Anecdotes.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough. But I mean,
There was a story. I don't know if you guys heard this story. A few years ago, this guy claimed to have shot and killed a Bigfoot.
but that was a hoax. That was proven a hoax.
Oh, that was proven a hoax. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know what the end game was.
yeah, that was proven a
I
hoax.
I figured it probably was a hoax after the guy said that he hadn't done drugs in like 3 days, so it had to have been real. So
Yeah, that guy was a hoaxer. You know, and it sucks because, uh, you know, the guy claimed himself to be like a Sasquatch hunter, this and that, and really kind of ruined the credibility of the people that actually investigate the phenomenon. Speaker for the dead, hail, good to see you. Um, you know, hail, Lady Mist as well, great to see you. I think that there is something unexplained out there. I'm more on the side of a believer. I try to look at it from a point of logic, and to me, again, it's the way that I look at, you know, alien life. It's foolish to think that we're the only creatures in the galaxy, and it's also foolish to think that we're even, you know, that we know everything about every animal on the planet, because there's plenty we don't know about. A lot of what's going on under our own seas, you know, under the oceans. There's a lot that we don't know, probably out in our wooded areas. And I wouldn't be surprised, even if it's a creature that large, that you know, there's something out there that's not been cataloged by science.
absolutely. I mean, we're finding new species every day, or species that were long thought extinct. We're finding species of all kinds, and just like you're saying with the sea, those giant tube worms. That was a real find. People weren't expecting life to be able to survive under the pressure and lack of light at the bottom of the
Hmm.
sea, and so why wouldn't there be just a very savvy forest dwelling creature that we've not why would there not be? There very well could be.
And it would explain a lot of stuff that's happened. I mean, I've seen pictures of, and I was joking with Drew earlier about this. I've seen girls that are pictures of girls, and actually in person some girls that look like they may be distant cousins, if not directly descended from fucking Bigfoot. You know what I
Huh.
mean? Like seriously huge fucking hairy bitches. You know what I mean? Um, and it's with a guy you don't get too freaked out. You're like, if a guy is real big and hairy, it's like, okay, well, you're just real big and hairy. If a chick is big and hairy, you're like, you look like your mother was raped by a Bigfoot. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, it's like a joke, but I mean, it's like, like, well, what ifs there? You know what I mean? And then there's also the big what ifs of like, there's a lot of the forest that is barely explored. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And the reason why is just because it's so dense and so easy to get lost. It's just like generally mapped. There's nobody that lives there. There's parts of the forest that like nobody trucks through just because it's hard to get to. I mean, there's like cliff sides and deep valleys that just nobody goes into. You know what I mean? It's just too difficult to hike into and hike out. So almost nobody ever does. All those areas, I mean, have basically been virtually untouched. I mean, like every once in a while it's touched by mankind, but still virtually untouched by mankind for hundreds and hundreds of years. Who
Yeah,
knows what lives there?
absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, people. I don't think people have a real appreciation for just how dense and vast the forests we have are in North America here. I mean, really. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, and that's why I'm glad that I have, like, you know, two gentlemen that live in that general area, you know, especially where there's a lot of woods, because you guys can kind of speak to this a little bit. You know, it's just as far vast as what y'all have out that way.
Well, we get a lot of groves, and like a grove, is trees that grow in a little circle. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
You cannot see into the grove. So like if I was standing in the grove of trees, right, I could watch you pass by just by looking around one of the tree edges.
Mm-hmm.
You would not see me. Even if you were looking directly at me, looking at you, you would not see me. It's
Yeah,
because I'm
because
I'm on the inside of the grove. You know what I mean? So I'm close to the fucking tree branches, so I can see out. If
well,
you're on the outside of the grove, you can't see in.
most of the forestry that's around the Sierras and whatnot. What exactly, like, what kind of trees are they mostly?
They're mostly redwood pine, most of them.
Yeah, pine,
Okay.
redwood. Yep.
Yeah.
But you can see some very interesting stuff, not even going that far off the beaten path. That's not widely reported. For example, you go up by Donner Lake. I did this hike through the abandoned train tunnel, and you can see artifacts and carvings. Like there's this one giant stone on the top of this hill that looks like a very, very, very weathered, carving of a head. I mean, that thing has to be seriously ancient. And so, I mean, if something like that is right out in the open, you got to imagine there's stuff buried deep in the forest that's mind blowing.
Well, the thing that fascinates me about this, and there's other theories out there. Why hasn't one been killed, or why hasn't one been seen in the open? Like, why didn't it, like, mistakenly head to the city or this or that and get caught out in the open somewhere? But it seems as if again, the creatures have a high level of intelligence. They're ingrained. They have instincts ingrained to them not to, not to be seen. Part of their natural, I guess, defense mechanism is to be able to stay hidden so well. And I guess these creatures would be considered technically apex predators, because a bear isn't going to kick its ass unless maybe it's fighting like a young Sasquatch or something was fighting a bear. It might take an ass whooping, but a full grown, especially the males, forget it. They break the damn bear's neck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, because these things are incredibly strong. Obviously, with the accounts of just some of the debris that people have had thrown at them when they, pissed these creatures off and wandered into their territory a little too far or whatever. I mean, it stands to reason. My goodness. Now, there's also been reports that, and I've heard this from like native people. They hold these creatures very sacred, by the way. Like if you talk to native people, anybody from different Indian tribes, they all have a different name for the Sasquatch, and it's a sacred creature among Native Americans. Definitely, they go and I've heard them described as a lost race of hunters, to guardians, to toxic. That's funny. I've heard them also described as like mystical beings. Some people say that they're so elusive because they have, that they're dimensional beings. So there's that. There's a lot of theories out there. What do you think? What do you think, Wes, about the Native American side of it? Because Native Americans are definitely believers in Sasquatch.
Yeah, I mean, they are they're Native Americans. They've been here before the rest of us. So those legends and lores. I mean, you have to think that when there was a lot more forest and a lot more, maybe there was more opportunities for there to be a sighting or an interaction of some kind. Um, maybe our technology is what drove them deeper into the forest. You have no idea. So it's entirely possible.
Yeah, except that there hasn't. I've never seen any Native American cave drawings of anything that resembled Bigfoot. They would be more supportive of like bears and eagles and wolves. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like think of any kind of recollection. I have no recollection of any kind of Native American cave painting or image painting or sewing or artwork that resembled Bigfoot that I could think of. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I cannot think of any that I've ever seen. And being from California, I would imagine if it was out there, I would have probably seen it in my lifetime.
No, I mean that's fair, Drew. I mean, this is more, I think, when you sit down and actually talk with Native people, and they sort of like recount that, because I know that our dear friend OG Star Wars, she was saying that her family members have had interactions with they've had Sasquatch experiences. So
that's what prompted the stream, right?
yeah, it was, and sadly, I reached out to OG Star Wars. She couldn't make it, but yeah, she said that her family members talked about having encounters, and there was another buddy of mine that said that he had an encounter in Washington State.
Washington State is like I said, basically from the Yosemite County mountains all the way up to Washington State, all the way up, right? I mean, the whole mountain range, all the way through, supposedly is where the Sasquatch sightings exist. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, that's like the strong. I mean, especially like like south of Seattle, or I mean, something like that is like a really hot spot.
Well, I'd still like to know what the hell I saw run across I-5, man, because that sure looked like could have been a Sasquatch.
Toxic Man Flu said drawings no, but traditional storytelling yes. If American Indigenous people. Let's see. Speaker for the Dead says perhaps the American Indians may not wish to draw attention to them through their paintings, which that lends credence to the theory of them being guardians, mystical beings. So that's a good point, Speaker.
Those are good points, and that would explain why I've never seen those drawings.
Yeah.
I mean, there's mountains that are not dense woods, but there are like Sasquatch stories, even the mountains that are just like up like less than an hour from me. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like I could drive there in 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and it's winding, like very low people count because it's winding roads to get way back in there,
Yeah.
And like a lot of people that just own like 100, 400, 500 acre properties out there, and on those properties they have wild turkeys and coyotes and all kinds of just wild animals, and there have been talk of the occasional Sasquatch being seen.
Well, there's that place in California called Ape Canyon that's supposed to be a big hot spot. The Ape Canyon area.
I actually have never heard that. I live here.
Yeah, I've not heard it.
I think it's in California. I want to say it's in California.
What part of California are you in now, Drew?
I'm actually in the dead center of California. I live in Fresno.
Fresno, okay, yep.
But I've been all over. I've lived all over California, and I've been all over California. It looks like it's in Washington, Ape Canyon.
Okay.
It's off the shoulder of Mount St. Helens. So
okay. See, there's another thing that I've heard of, and the reason that we're not finding bodies as far as Sasquatches go is the fact that there's a theory that the Sasquatches are intelligent enough that they bury their dead or they eat their dead, one of the two. And then there's another theory that the government knows what they are, and the government keeps their existence a secret. And like when a major catastrophe happens, for example, when Mount St. Helens blew, things like that, um, there is. It's been rumored that the government went in, did a quiet cleanup operation, cleaned all the Sasquatch corpses out.
Yeah, I don't even know why the government would do that. I mean, I can't even think of like a spy novel reason why the government would try and cover up something like a Sasquatch.
I can, um, because if you want to take the legend part out of it, and just go with another theory, because there is another theory out there that it could have been a genetic experiment, which explains why the government does want to cover up, you know,
Like Island of
the
Dr. Moreau stuff?
essentially. But there is that, what was that? What was that saying that Spock had in Star Trek West?
Oh, what he was quoting Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever. However improbable. Wait.
You're talking about the Sherlock Holmes quote. Okay.
Yeah, whatever is not.
Yeah. When you evaluate something, whatever is what after removing all the possibilities, whatever's left, it must be true. You know what I mean?
However improbable. Yeah.
Right. However improbable. Whatever remains is likely the truth.
yeah, and it's just funny because there is that possible theory as well. It could have been genetic genetic experimentation. You know,
But that kind of throws the whole Native American myth part of it out, doesn't it?
it does to a degree, but because and I mean we have sightings that go back, my goodness, to the days of Roosevelt, and even before that. We have sightings that go back all the way to early 1900s, maybe late 1800s. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to see the genetic manipulation part of it. However,
Maybe
there
go
is
ahead.
the other theory that it could be an extraterrestrial creature, which is why the government would be involved at that point.
Well, maybe we've got some remote nuclear silos or some black ops happening in the center of these forests, and they would cover up Sasquatch because they don't want to reveal the fact that they're huddling around the black sites or secret facilities.
I got a new theory that I've heard once before.
Okay.
Alien visitors that are just tall and hairy.
Well, yeah, that's been a theory for a while, Drew.
I mean, you think about it, if you were gonna come and visit us with the spaceship, right? You could hover above the forest. You know what I mean? And then if you were like a Bigfooty kind of person, you could use the trees to easily come down to the ground level. And you could easily explore and be camouflaged.
Oh, Parrothead's got the quote: "Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth."
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
the quote. Yeah, that we were both stumbling on it because we're
It's late.
yeah.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Anybody want to go ahead and read that from Speaker for the Dead?
It says here, my brother said he saw one when he was hunting. Scared him so bad he didn't hunt for years after that, and he was obsessed with hunting. I live in Idaho, and we have legends here. I would imagine that anywhere that is currently or was currently connected to the northwest of the United States by mountain ranges and forest has some trace of legend of Bigfoot, if not actual Sasquatch.
I do want to welcome, take a moment, welcome on in Sith Lord 3827, one of the best mods on YouTube, also one of my best buds. What's up, JJ?
Hail Sith Lord.
Hey, what's
What's going
going
on,
on, man?
guys?
Oh, what's going on, man?
Hey.
Of course, Sith Lord, you're from Florida. Florida has a lot of Bigfoot legends running through it. Um, a lot of people talk about the skunk apes down there.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really have too big of an idea about that one. The closest thing I can come to anything like that is gigantic gators.
Okay,
I live near the water, so uh, at best, things that go the guys around here go hunting. They go looking for deer.
hmm
That's about it. I don't have too much to offer as far as Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah, well, there's a legend in Florida with the skunk apes, and those are big as far as I think they're like supposedly they're related in some way to the Sasquatch proper, but again, it's kind of like with the Sasquatch and the Yeti. There's a little bit of difference to them, and they seem to be a more like nimble type of Sasquatch, I guess, if you will, and they tend to congregate in the very like swampy areas and really again hard to get to places that you wouldn't that humans just would have a hell of a time making their way to. Let's put it that way.
Well,
I
you keep saying skunk ape. The best thing that comes to my mind is probably one of my neighbors.
Oh man, I knew the jokes were coming. I knew the jokes
Well,
were coming.
come on, man. What do you want? I'm sarcastic. I love to joke. I can't stay serious for very long. And as I told you early on, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever everybody wants to call them, hell, Chewbacca, who cares? I'm clueless. But I've never seen of anything or heard of anything like that around here anyway.
Isn't the Fountain of Youth supposed to be in Florida somewhere?
yeah.
Yes, they're saying a place called San Augustine, or Ponce. We say Ponce de Leon, but it's Ponce de Leon, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Ponce de
Leon,
Leon.
yep.
Yeah.
Boy, there'd be a big line for that thing in Florida,
I'm
especially.
shoot. You telling me, man?
Curtis,
They got
Reading room.
they got a market of
But
come
isn't
see the Fountain of Youth.
isn't the legend isn't that it got that it was discovered and then it was corrupted, and so it no longer works? That's what I heard. So
Well, we told them not to pee in it, so
Curtis says he never had a Bigfoot experience, but I'm a believer.
I'm a
Lady
believer.
Lady Miss says I grew up in Washington on a naval base near Deception Pass State Park and never saw a Sasquatch. I almost, Lady Mist, when you wrote that, I almost said Decepticon Pass. Got Transformers on the brain. It's funny. Like the thing that fascinates me about this legend is again, there's just so many things that go with it. I mean, everything from what Drew was saying about the theory about being an alien to you go directly if you trace sightings back to so long ago. It's like my goodness, it's just so many different things that that this could be. It's one of the most fascinating legends of our time, to be honest. I mean, because everybody wants to just figure out what this thing is because it's just such a fascinating creature in theory.
Well, there's too many. There's too many like what ifs, and there's enough compelling stories and compelling artifacts, and you know what I mean. Just like nothing's hard evidence. Nothing's hard evidence, but there's enough compelling shit that makes you want to go. Well, could it be? You know what I mean? Just like enough to make you wonder. You know?
Yeah, Mando Merc, yes. In Alpha Flight, which used to be one of the books that I read back in the day, Sasquatch is a very legendary Alpha Flight member. It's my favorite Alpha Flight member for obvious reasons.
I wonder if one day somebody's gonna catch like a Sasquatch on Google Earth or something, and
That would be interesting, man. That would blow up all over. That would go viral if they did.
Well, that's the one thing that if I was to like have any excuse why I would be doubting the Sasquatch theory is because every couple of years the planet gets another like large bulk of people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And for at least since 2005, almost everybody's had a phone in their pocket with a camera on it. You know what I mean? So that is a good 15 years of people wandering the woods with the fucking camera in their hands, ready to go at any time. You know what I mean? And so like in that 15 years, and I mean, you got people in them woods, not just hunters, but just people who are fucking wanderers, hikers, backpackers. You know what I mean? And then obviously people are always looking to exploit untraveled woodsy areas. Always. I mean, that's why you fucking go in the middle like, well, no one's been here before, and you see a piece of paper on the ground, fucking bottle cap, you're like, oh, I guess they have been. I mean, there are areas that are very rarely traveled, but I mean, people are trying to break those numbers down. So, I would think that the odds of somebody capturing something on a legit high resolution phone at this point would be like likely. You know what I mean? So it's like, I wonder if there are Bigfoot living out there, they have to be like very small in numbers, very, very small in numbers.
Wes, why don't you read a Degas theory?
Degas says, before modern natives, there was Hopewell. Before them was Adina. Those were said to be giants, and they were all killed. Maybe some survived. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's also a fascinating theory as well, because I've heard the theory about the giants. And Speaker for the Dead says,
well, they find skulls all over the world, giant skulls, right?
Yeah, but there's an actual like human disorder that that creates giantism, and then those skulls and bones would appear to look like Bigfoot skulls and bones after the fact, because you wouldn't be able to see the hair and whatnot, but you would see like deformities and growth weirdness, and it would be kind of more ape-like. I'm sure you've seen people who have giantism. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Tony Robbins is like that.
Right.
Yeah. Speaker for the Dead says, I almost don't want them to find out for sure that Sasquatch is real, because when the mystery is over, the not knowing part of what makes it fun will be gone. And he's right. There's that, but there's also, and this is a thing that's another debate. If these creatures are real, obviously they're, as you just spoke to, Drew, they're going to be an endangered species. Now, there's even some laws on the books in some states that does have that I believe Washington State has protections written in for the Sasquatch.
No, I don't know if they have a direct protection for Sasquatch. You have to have California is the same way. You have to have a license to kill an animal in the woods, and then like so
but I'm saying they're protected.
Well, I mean, everything's protected. If you don't have a license to kill it, it's protected. You know what I mean? So like, there's no license to kill a Sasquatch, so they're protected. Just by actual like law. Yeah.
But yeah, I would not. I mean, if these creatures are real, I wouldn't want to see them hunted, because they're obviously an endangered species.
I don't think hunting them would work. I think they would be faster and more stealthy and a lot more dangerous. I mean, fuck, dude, try to fucking try and pull a fucking rifle on a gorilla within 20 feet and see what happens to you. You know,
Because good God, can you imagine like a 9-10 foot tall, muscular standing on two legs, stronger than a gorilla type ape.
Imagine a man with like 1.5 times the strength of a gorilla. You know what I mean? That stands maybe 10, 11 feet tall. You know, like just to make imagine Andre the Giant, healthy, in his absolute strongest point. You know what I mean? Imagine how much he could screw somebody up. You know, before he was all sore and starting to fall apart. You know.
Yeah, I'm good.
I mean that's an animal that can literally just take you and break you over its knee. It'd break you in half. And I don't think that you could even. It's just like you said, Drew. I don't even think you'd get a shot off.
Nope. and if you did, you'd regret it. Oh man.
Yeah, something that big, you do nothing but just piss it off.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because we know. I mean, even some of those just like zoo gorillas can kill you. Like they're powerful animals. I mean,
it takes a headshot or a heart shot to bring something like that down, and those are really difficult shots to do in close range or in a panic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and one thing, it's funny. One characteristic that people have had in Bigfoot encounters is, when a Sasquatch is present in the area, there is a palpable fear. Other animals take off, and there is just a palpable fear. It's almost like it has an innate ability to produce fear in its surroundings, and a lot of people that have claimed to have had Sasquatch experiences have explained that feeling. So you're sitting there, with this feeling of terror, and you're trying to like shoot something, it ain't gonna work.
No, it might, it might work. You might hit something, and if you're an experienced shot, if like a former soldier, you might have like somewhat of a chance. But again, if seriously, a bear, right, at 20 paces, you know what I mean, would be hard to shoot. Just lifting up the rifle to take aim would probably be the same amount of time it would take that bear. It probably wouldn't even be enough time to get the rifle up to aim. That bear would be on you. I mean, it's like you would have to like shoot from the hip and be a fucking hell of a shot to even stop. And you wouldn't stop the bear. The bullet would have to hit the bear like right in the fucking eye to get past the brain pan. Because even if you shot the bear in the head, it's going to get stuck. I mean, because it's going to get stuck in that skull. You know what I mean? I mean, because you're using a 22, even if you're using a 30-06. It's unlikely. I mean, you're going to need a 357 at close range to penetrate that fucking bear's skull. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those things where like it's absolutely ridiculous to expect anybody to be able to like secure, in that kind of scenario. I mean, you'd have to be like a soldier of fortune type to even like have a chance.
I'm not necessarily sure that I know what you mean, RR, and I think you meant pheromone instead of hormone. But yeah, I think, and that goes along with what we were talking about with the classic, thing that people always describe, the Sasquatch smell when it's present. That might go right along with it. That's also maybe a pheromone that gives off that scent that also instills fear in the surrounding possible prey, and that could be that too. Lady Miss says there's always some kind of idiot that wants to kill the animal, and that is sad. And you're right, Lady Mist. I would if it's proven that the animal exists. If somebody kills one, if somebody finds a skull or something like that, and it's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's a new species of animal, I would hope that people would have the common sense to leave it alone. I hope you don't get a whole flurry of people that would come out and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get famous. I'm gonna go hunt and bag me a Sasquatch now."
Yeah, see, like again,
I'm sure they would.
that they would, the people who actually went and tried to do that, they would the Fish and Game Commission would immediately have them arrested as soon as they came across them. What are you hunting? Let me see your license. You know what I mean? What'd you catch?
Yeah.
Let me see your license.
Well,
You know what I mean?
well, yeah,
and it's a fucking huge fine, and there's certain things that if you hunt and kill, you will go to jail for because they're protected species.
well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Drew. If it's proven to exist, it would definitely go on the protected list almost immediately because
Oh yeah, probably depending on
the population density. I think there's a decent population around the country, but the population density around the world, the thing still would fall in those type of numbers where it would be an endangered or protected species at the very least.
very likely, unless they're a subterranean culture and there's like thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah,
Which
You
is
know.
possible. You never know. You ever
That
read
is, they,
HD, like H.G. Wells? You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, they could be. I don't know that I've heard of like Sasquatch families or anything like that. I don't know if I've heard of them making use of caves, but it could be a good idea, and it does make sense. But usually, like this goes back to what we were talking about earlier in that article I pulled up. They tend to like follow bodies of water, dry creek beds, things like that. Small lakes. So they tend to and they follow creeks. So they tend to always go where there's at least some sort of body of water. So I'm not sure that. Cave systems do normally go hand in hand with water as well.
There's always subterranean water. There's always subterranean water flow. If you have a river or a lake or anything like that, and there's a granite in the ground surrounding that river and lake, you will have underground rivers. You will have an underground lake somewhere in that area. Yes, almost every time. That's just the nature of how granite works.
I don't know, Wes. What do you think?
As far as Sasquatch following bodies of water,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean it makes sense. You need water; it's essential. You have to have it to survive. So, yeah, that sound it sounds like it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes logical sense to you, right, JJ?
Well, considering that I live in the far northeastern part of Florida, I'm literally like 20 minutes from the Florida-Georgia line. Water is all around me in some form or fashion. We've got a major river that runs right through the city. And also southwest of us, there's a place called Itchitucknick Springs, which is a large, I'm gonna say a floating river. You go down there, ride inner tubes, and do whatever. And underground cave systems, because they do cave diving around there and stuff like that. So
wow.
I believe it's possible. We also got the Swanee River. It is completely possible. If such a creature exists, it just like everybody said, it's part of life. You need water to survive. Because there's to drink, to fish, to get nourishment from, other than everywhere else is on the land. So yeah, it's completely possible.
Yeah, well, in a minute or two, we're going to go ahead and I pulled up a clip to use for tonight's broadcast, so we're going to listen to, what could be a possible Sasquatch encounter. But I will go ahead and, for the moment, if anybody has some questions from chat for the panel, please fire away. Wes, I'll leave them in your capable hands while I step away to the men's room, and I'll be right back.
All right.
We got to buy Drew a bigger bladder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe he could.
No doubt.
Maybe a catheter.
Yeah, a catheter in a colostomy bag.
Yep. Yeah, I'll take
Man.
care of it.
All you need is a big 2-liter bottle.
That's the funniest thing. Every once in a while, I mean, when I visit my parents, I'll see these commercials for catheters like it's a lifestyle choice or something.
Right.
Now, who chooses that, really?
Yeah, it's like, okay, I gotta understand maybe if you're a truck driver, or if you legit have issues.
Well, there are people that have legit issues, especially older people, and I see a lot of commercials because I watch a lot of news, so I see a lot of commercials for like these catheter companies that specialize in catheter, and your like Medicare pays for it, and they have all these different styles, so you can choose the kind of catheter you like for you. You know what I mean? It's like I could just see somebody fucking like sampling catheters. Let's see how this one feels.
Yeah. Hey, Wes.
God.
Hey, Wes. I got this new catheter, man. You want to try it out, man? I think
Oh!
it works.
I don't think you're
works
supposed
great.
to share catheters, man.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
think that'd be
yeah.
bad.
You know what I'm saying? It's great feeling, man. I think you love this. Why don't you try this one out? Yeah, I don't.
And
think so.
I think they do catheters in like a little bit of a flexible plastic now, because can you imagine like back in the day when they were in glass, that shit breaks off and you.
Oh man.
You know what?
That's always been like a
Just
worst
ruined my-
nightmare kind of thing.
Damn it. Just thinking about that, you just ruined my evening. Thank you.
Did I just give you nightmares?
Yeah.
Like I thought I was scared of Bigfoot, but now breaking off catheter in my fucking penis, that's the scariest shit ever.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. That's wonderful.
Let's see here.
Yeah, but you know what? The one thing about a catheter, there's like one positive thing. When you're in the hospital, that's the best way to get cute nurses to play with your dick.
Yeah, but when you got something
Right.
stuck in your pee hole, man, I don't think I want any woman touching it now.
It's not the most pleasant experience to have something shoved up your pee hole. No.
Oh,
Nope.
I don't know what I came back to. Oh, dear Lord.
We started talking about catheters for some reason. Oh wait, that was the reason. Never mind.
Yeah. Dallas Dead, I said, not a legend. It is real. Must watch the zoom in of the Patterson film where it shows the toes flexing. Oh man.
Blue says sharing catheters is how we got Star Trek Discovery. Maybe.
That could be.
That's an interesting theory.
Bravo. Yes, bravo.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play this clip. This is interesting. This is a video off of YouTube, and we're going to listen to this. This is this is interesting to me. It's a 15-minute clip. I kind of don't want to play the whole 15 minutes, but we'll go.
Now, are you going to get copyright struck for this?
No, I doubt it. This is just an audio clip. This is somebody else's video, just a user's video. I don't think that we'll get hit with anything for this. I mean, they want to copyright strike me, go ahead, but I don't think that somebody's going to copyright strike me over this. It's not from anywhere official. It's from a person. So, but we're gonna listen to this chat, and you make up your mind from here. So I'm going to ask the fellas to mute while we watch this, and you guys, you're kind of going to have to strain a little bit to hear it, but just listen, and we'll check it out. So, all right, we'll share this. The guy said this is from July 8th, 2012, near Clipper Mills, California. And their truck had their RV broke down, whatever. So here we go.
It's over here too. It's coming from back there too, behind us. See, that's a dog. You hear that?
You can hear dogs, but you can make out the other sounds.
Juno, what is that? What was that? I don't think so. They don't call that much. It's two of them.
Now it's interesting, the patterns, because it's almost like the creatures are communicating back and forth.
What the fuck is that? I hear a dog down there barking.
That's not
Yeah,
a
there's
dog
one
bark.
back there too, like earlier.
Yeah, that's not a dog bark.
You can hear the dog barking amongst these howls.
I'm sitting in the cab. I wish we had a tailgate.
As far as I know, I've never heard of a Sasquatch attacking anybody and killing them.
Their dogs aren't even moving, man. They are like frozen in place.
Bears don't do that.
All right, so this went on for obviously a number of minutes, but I find that quite fascinating, because when you filter out the dog barks, things like that, the
Yeah, I turned up the sound a lot on the Yeti here, the volume knob on the Yeti to hear it, and I could hear, yeah, what you're talking about, the roar. I think that's, well, I'm trying to do my best. You know, kind of like
It kind of sounded like a modified fox howl to me. It really did. It sounded like a modified fox howl. It's a little bit of a computerized, a little bit of a computer. I don't know if they're trying to enhance it for the video. That could be the excuse. It could be that it just like they were like tweaking it with reverb. It does sound like modified to me, and it sounds a lot if I take the like the computerizing and the extra echo reverb in it. If I take that out, it sounds a lot like a fox howl to me.
I don't know. I'm assuming you've been in the woods before at some point, JJ.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Through and through, I'm a city boy. Uh,
Okay.
don't get me wrong, we do have wilderness and stuff like that around us, but for the most part, I've spent my time in the city. So I'm what they call a high tech redneck.
Okay.
Uh, but I could hear some faint noises off in the distance, and I couldn't make it out too well. I had my volume up as loud as it'd go.
Okay.
But you could tell there was something in the distance. Now it could have been a number of things. It could have been another form of an animal. It could have been well just another form of an animal if they were out in the woods because it was hard to see for me also. Uh, but you know, hey, I'm not one to say no that shit don't exist. I'm I'm open to anything. You know, it could have been a bear, it could have been a fox, uh, could have been anything. Uh, you know, even Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm open to it.
Yeah, if you've ever been camping in the woods, in the in the deep woods, not like like at a campsite, you know what I mean, like where
Yeah,
people are always
see,
at. Yeah,
we
if
got
you,
woods around us, but nothing like the deep woods or something. Most like that. Most of it is uh, most you know
Just
subdivisions
short
downtown.
wooded areas in between.
Yeah. Stuff.
Right.
Hey, I'm gonna go trekking in the woods. Oh yeah, big deal. But then you trek through to the other side, and you're in someone's backyard. Or
you'll hear all kinds of crazy noises at night. There's wolves, there's owls, there's all kinds of different birds that make weird kinds of noises. There's foxes when they're mating make the weirdest fucking cackle that sounds like horrifying, but it's like a mating call. So
yeah, around here, if you spend the night in the woods, the best thing you're gonna hear is probably some distant highway noise. You know, it's a lot of those types of sounds in the evening that drowned out true nature.
Hmm. Um, I mean, I could see that. Now, there's been people that have actually analyzed that clip because I believe that one's called the Sierra Sounds,
yeah, I'm
and
gonna have to
when,
listen to it. I'm gonna have to listen to it not when it's not on StreamYard. I already searched for it and pulled it up on my laptop to listen to it again later, because
Mhm.
because StreamYard again could have been why it sounded digitized to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I'm just saying that it sounded very digitized. It sounded like it had extra reverb on it.
yeah, and I think that's probably what it was because I was screen sharing it
Yeah,
through
and
StreamYard.
it's also possible. It's also possible that somebody was out there fucking with speakers and making noises off in the distance, because people fucking pull pranks on other people. Some people just do shit because they're fucking think it's funny. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's all kinds of things that can go on, and you got to understand, a fucking angry turkey makes a very scary sound.
Oh yeah, that's a possibility too. Um,
That's why I eat steak for Thanksgiving.
yeah. the Now, like I said, I know that this sound, that this particular sound clip has been analyzed before. It some of the sounds were revealed to be inconclusive, so they didn't know what it came from. So, so that's what I'm saying. So it's one of these that's just, you really don't know either way. But
That's the best stuff to pull controversy from, man. That's
but
like the best pseudo evidence you can get. It's like,
but the
well, it sorta could be. So what
but
I
the
mean,
thing is, like, when you listen to it, when you listen to the actual clip, if you guys pull it up on your own, um, to me, you can clearly hear the communication. That there's definitely more than one of the creatures there. You can hear the communication. I mean,
yeah.
that's just
Well,
what I hear out of it.
if you hear communication from any kind of like wood-based creature, that's most likely a mating call of sorts.
Yeah.
Very rarely do creatures like that communicate loud over distance when it's not mating related.
Could be.
So, hey, ladies.
I mean, it could be. You know, it could be.
Have you ever had? Have
variety.
you ever had? Have you ever had cats in heat?
Oh yeah.
Oh dear God, yes.
My point made.
Um, Wes, what was your takeaway from it though?
It sounded like, I mean, it sounded different than anything I've really heard, but I think, I think Drew's onto something with mating calls, because I lived out in the country and I've heard some pretty strange noises around mating season. Birds that, it's like, what the fuck is that? And you look up and it'll be a bird in a tree. Or, coyotes can even make weird noises.
Make very weird noises, yeah.
I remember.
Kind of sounded. I mean, it sounded different. It did kind of have a simian kind of sound to it, but I mean, it was on the spectrum somewhere of like wolves and bears. Similar noise to those. To my ears, what it sounded like.
And mockingbirds invent new sounds all the time.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't think about that one too. Yeah, got a point with that. Now I had an interesting experience when I had gone when my dad had passed away from prostate cancer, and I was driving to DC, going through Pennsylvania. This was on the way back home, as I was bringing my mom home from DC after we had gone to service and buried my dad and everything. And we had stayed there a weekend, and we were coming home. And as I was driving through Pennsylvania, through particularly like it's a lot of hills, and rather canyons and whatnot type of area. I had the windows down, and I had heard some weird sounds like emanating from the canyons as I was driving through there, because we were driving like late at night. My mom was asleep in the passenger seat, and I had the windows down, and I could hear that stuff, and it was that was rather creepy. And again, I mean, it could have been anything, but I mean, I don't necessarily discount it. And I guess it's probably from the standpoint of, I'm a skeptic, or I try to look at it from a logic standpoint, but at the same time, I'm a little bit more of a believer, and it could be like that subconscious bias, maybe. So, I mean,
I don't deny that the possibility exists. I mean, it hasn't been disproven. You know what I mean? So, at the same time, it hasn't been proven. So I'm not like cynical or skeptical. I'm just like, if I hear something and I'm like, well, maybe that's this. Maybe that's this. If it can be explained away, it can be explained away. If it can't be explained away, that makes it more compelling.
Well, sure. And I think the four of us, we tend to be on that side of, we go with logic and try to go down the list, like, okay, it could be this, and check it off the list as we go. Mm-hmm. But into that clip, man, it was just rather creepy. So
yeah, I believe, in order for me to fully believe it, I need proof. But at the same time, being logical about it, like, well, there's nothing out there saying that it's not what that is either. It can go either way. Without proof, you don't know.
Yeah, we have, believe it or not, Ohio is actually a hotbed state for Bigfoot sightings and things like that. We've had them a lot, like in southern Ohio.
Well,
Uh,
I would have to say that Hicksville, Ohio, is the town where I've seen a few girls that look like they could be related to fucking
right,
Bigfoot.
right, Jared? Right. No, the thing is like
Now they're gonna hate me in Hicksville.
in southern Ohio, like like Coshocton, stuff like that, where hunting's like real big. Um, there's a lot of stuff that comes out of there, Columbiana County, places like that in Ohio. So I again, I don't discount it.
There's also a lot of subterranean caverns in Ohio, so that basically have dried up since it was all like floodlands. It used to be all big old flood swamp,
Hmm.
and then I guess there's like subterranean shit that all through there. You guys still have those sinkholes all the time, right?
Yeah, we have a place in Ohio called the Blue Hole. That's a
Yeah.
natural phenomenon, natural
Yeah, but
sinkhole.
yeah, but I mean, but you guys have I mean, when I lived there, there was a sinkhole problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
you know,
I mean, there's still sinkholes here and
yeah.
there.
And that's because there's a whole like subterranean, like a whole structure underneath the state of Ohio that's subterranean. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like a man-made maze or anything, but it's all like naturally made
Caves.
caverns. Yeah.
I don't know. It's super interesting, and like I said, we have plaster casts. We have a lot of, I guess, circumstantial evidence, but I don't think really and truly it's going to be good enough for anybody until we have DNA, until we have a body, until we have a skull. So
I don't think a skull will do it. I think it's got to be an actual fucking body with that's still hairy and still juicy before
still
anybody
hairy and
believes it.
still
Yeah.
juicy. Nice.
Or an actual captured Bigfoot like in a cage somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. My take on the situation is, to me, it's still quite plausible, and I'd still tend to go with the theory that it's just an uncatalogued species. We're dealing, at least in my opinion, we're dealing with an animal that just hasn't been discovered yet, and I would love to see it actually get cataloged and take its rightful place in the animal kingdom. So,
Well,
so I
here's
hope.
the best way to check if somebody's being legit about their Bigfoot tale. If there's any kind of monetization associated with it, I would pretty much write them off.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there's been a lot of quacks and hoaxers when it's come to Bigfoot, sightings and experiences that have been in it just completely to try to get their 15 minutes or
Wasn't it like in
get
the
money.
the mid 1980s? There was this big, huge like everybody was submitting Bigfoot fucking homemade fucking footage because everybody had a camcorder, so they were like all faking Bigfoot footage like crazy. I mean, it was. I mean, I remember fucking seeing it all the goddamn time. People just like submitting just fake Bigfoot footage. You would see it on the news, and then they would say it like, well, we don't know if it's real or not. It would fucking be like somebody running around in a gorilla suit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the truth there.
And the picture just has to be blurry enough, you know what I mean? And you can pretend you're taller just by saying it. Oh yeah, he's like 10 feet in that picture. He's like 6 feet, you know.
Yeah.
Like the most famous Bigfoot pictures, I swear to God, look more like a gorilla fucking walking across the territory than a fucking man. You know what I mean? And I've seen more compelling Bigfoot stuff that looks less like a gorilla and more like a person. You know, more like a orangutan. I would say that the Bigfoot looks more like a fucking like if I was gonna classify it close to any ape at all, it would be like an orangutan. is probably closest to an orangutan.
Well, and the one on the Patterson film, looks to be like a female because it's more of a streamlined sort of thing, and the female, like it has visible breasts, and there's like
Are you talking about the drawing that Peter Gilmore did?
no. No, I'm talking about the Patterson film though. When you look at
I'm just cracking because he drew this fucking gorilla with big old fucking boobies once on fucking.
But yeah, it looks like and it has a slope to the head. And I'm trying to, and I'm going more with what you're saying, Drew. It looks almost reminiscent when you look at it that way of an orangutan in a way.
Well, the longer arms, the way that the pictures that I've seen, usually the longer arms and the way that the hair sits reminds me of an orangutan. You know what I mean? So it, maybe it's another breed of orangutan. Maybe it's fucking, escaped orangutans.
A really big orangutan, yeah.
I was gonna say that's a huge ass orangutan, but you can definitely tell in the different body shape that it is a female when you look at the Patterson film. Because you can see, and
you have now in the found footage or any of that kind of stuff like the Patterson film. I don't have that in front of me. I should like fucking Google that real fast. The question that I would ask is your perspective on how tall the thing is. It's the first thing I always look at. Like they say that's so tall, and I'm like, well, what are they using for a point of reference? You know what I mean? It's not like there's somebody standing there as man size.
To me, that thing looks about probably 7 feet tall.
Like the only thing I've seen that really, the only thing I've seen that really gives them like size proportional has been based on the footprints they found, and like the Yeti ones in the snow and stuff,
I don't think that one's easily the Patterson film from 67. I think that looks. I think that is probably a.
That's the one that's the one that looks like a gorilla though. It's like a man in a gorilla suit. It really does.
That's 7 to 8 feet tall.
Where's the reference point for that? For 7 to 8 feet.
Well, I'm just saying, when I'm looking at it, it looks to me to be about no more than 7-8 feet tall. It's definitely, to me, it looks like a female when you look at the Patterson film.
Well, I have actually the Patterson film up in front of me right now. I'm on YouTube and I'm slowly like going through it to look at the scenes here.
Yeah.
It looks. I don't know. To me, I've seen this film before many times, and I've always thought this one looked like a fucking person in a gorilla suit, a really well-made gorilla suit, and it doesn't look like somebody who's taller than like maybe 6'2" tops.
Yeah. Well,
that's because there's no point of reference. I mean, there's like rocks and boulders. There's like no actual size reference associated with that at all visually. I mean, it could be 4 feet tall for all I could tell.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it though. I look at the features, and to me, like the sloped head, sort of tells me that it's an ape, and the visible breasts tell me that it's a female. And with it being more on the side of like, in the 7 to 8 foot range, I would say that it's definitely a female because the males tend to run from 8 to 12 feet.
I found another one that says it's slowed down and stabilized.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to share it, Drew, go ahead.
Well, I'm on a different computer. I'd have to jump
Oh,
on
okay.
the screen with that computer. I mean, I can share it from that, but right now I'm just kind of like trying to check it out to see the footage here.
Just copy the link, put it in the private chat if you
Yeah,
can.
I'll do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to send this computer a link from the invite real fast, and I'll just bring it in silent, and we can just share the screen.
Okay.
I run two computers when I do my live stream. It's basically the same concept.
Okay.
Um,
Fair enough. We're gonna break down the classic Patterson film real quick, chat, and then we'll probably, as soon as we're finished with that, we'll wrap it up. Not too far from now, but we're gonna kind of have our own look at the Patterson film.
let's see here. There, you should have a shared screen now.
Okay.
All right, so this is the footage slowed down and stabilized. Super slow and stabilized and super smooth. It's a little too slow. It's kind of hard. But see those steps? That really looks like more like man steps.
Did you? Yeah, but look at the gate. That's my thing. Look at the gate. Somebody doesn't normally take that wide a stride.
Not normally, but if they are wearing a monkey suit and they're trying to set a
Well, yeah, because just case in point, the late and great Peter Mayhew was 7'1", 7'2". He had a gaping step for his height. That could have been people that tall are not uncommon. So back then that just could have been a well done outfit.
No, I understand that, but
it easily could have been a well done costume, and I mean, and it could have been somebody fucking playing a prank, or it could. And I do recall that a lot of people accused the people that made this video of trying to create a hoax.
right.
Yeah, I thought this was a hoax. I thought it was revealed to be a hoax.
Okay, you see now. Look, I want to look at this right here. I want to point out a couple things. You see these folds in the light and the shadow, right? Okay, that is very like the skin would have to be super loose, or it would be a costume. Just right there, well, the step is up, and the folds and the skin and stuff. That is like a bunching up costume. That is something that happens when you're wearing a bulky costume. All right.
Yeah, but the problem,
that's my impression. And like if that was a creature, that wouldn't happen.
But the problem is this: like the one portion of the film where the creature stops and like kind of looks over, you can see like in the chest area, it has like visible breasts, so it looks like a female.
Well, what if the costume is designed to have pecs itself to look like a monkey on the outside, right? And the man who's wearing it has man boobs underneath it, giving it a nice little push.
It's possible too, but it's I don't know. It's hard to say. I think
I've seen more convincing video than this. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
I've seen other Bigfoot videos that are convincing, and believe me, chat, as fun as it would be to like share out of them, all of them, I'm not going to sit there and scour YouTube for them. You can do your own research, but yeah, there are some pretty compelling videos like out there. I just think that. I don't know. I still.
I don't deny the existence of Bigfoot. I honestly don't. I just want there to be evidence that is more like evidence.
Exactly. And I can agree with you there. I want to see them find a body and everything else. I think it's a great legend. It's a fascinating subject. If I ever get the opportunity, I would definitely go on a Bigfoot hike and then try to find evidence because, like I said, it's a subject that really interests me. But I don't know. It's got so much stuff going for it, like Native American legends, sightings dating back all the way to the late 1800s. Yeah, Lady Myth said Patterson film looks like human in costume. Okay. Yeah. See,
Yeah, I have to go with Lady Mist on this one.
yeah. Well, I don't know, guys. The best I guess we'll say for now is it's inconclusive. I don't think that we've proven it does exist, but we haven't proven it doesn't. So,
It's just like Michelle Obama's dick.
Jesus, Wes.
I had to go there. Sorry.
I would say that the existence of her two daughters might have something to do with the evidence of lack of penile.
Find a picture of her pregnant, man. Find a picture of her pregnant.
Okay, I'm sure that exists, by the way.
Yeah, no proof without the pictures, man. Come on.
Yeah, you want to see the childbirth itself before you believe it, huh?
Oh man, yeah.
It was inconclusive on the stream too.
I would just have to like say, do you play that standard to everybody? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
We did.
True.
We looked at Laura Bush and we couldn't find anything that looked like.
Well, she probably shaved. Oh, wrong Bush. Sorry. My
Yeah,
bad.
read my lips, no more Bush. Or...
Oh my gosh! All right, guys, we're going off topic here, but all right.
Isn't that what happens at the end of the stream? We all go fucking crazy land.
Oh yeah. Well, all right. So final thoughts. I think that it's inconclusive, but I tend to lean more on the side of a believer. Drew.
I would say that I don't believe either way. I am still open-minded about it, but I have yet to see anything that was truly compelling that I would call evidence in any way.
All right, Wes.
Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, it's just it's a lot of lore and stories. We don't have conclusive proof, but I mean, is it possible? It's possible.
All right, and JJ.
I have to echo all of you. Without substantial proof, there's no way to say either yay or nay on the subject. We've seen video, we've seen all kinds of video through the years. Oh, Bigfoot sightings, but okay, it's not like Bigfoot is king. Let me rephrase that. It's not like Bigfoot is a movie star. He's not going to stop and say, "Hey, look here, take my picture." It's.
So you're not.
Proof. Yeah.
You're not buying it just off of plaster casts of footprints and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. There's been all kinds of falsifying stories through the years. I'm talking about through the years, even long before we were thought of. So without substantial proof, I can't say yes or no. But I'm not saying I don't believe it. I'm just saying without proof, it's hard for me to believe.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Make sure that you check out my friends here, their channels. Drew, if you want to say something about your book, Drew is a proud #ComicsGate guy. He also helps me out with sickestofall.com. He is he's an excellent dude, and I will let him go ahead and explain about Captain Love.
All right, so Captain Love is a book that is in its second book is in process. The first book is available on Indiegogo. You can search Captain Love. Second book is in campaign mode. It's not in demands like the first book you can buy now right away. It'll get shipped to you next business day. Second book is in campaign mode. We're doing it by chapters. So chapter 1 right now the campaign is there. That one will ship in July. Could really use it if you guys want to support and crowdfund indie creators. I would love for you to check out Captain Love. If you want to get a book first, there's a book available. If you want to crowdfund, it's totally up to you. The book is actually a lot of fun. Drew's read it. He can give you the lowdown on the unbiased.
Great comic.
And also I have a YouTube channel, The Drew Love. Right here, you see where it says The Drew Love here, right there. YouTube.com/The Drew Love. You'll find my channel. We do horror talk on Monday nights.
And I sometimes join him for that.
Yes, sometimes Drew comes and helps us talk horror. And,
I'm sorry.
And then also we do indie comics interviews on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and there's all kinds of other like fun stuff coming to the channel very soon. So it's all about having a good time, hanging out, trying to spread the word and the indie love. You know what I mean? So come and join the fun.
Yeah, guys. With everything that's going on in our entertainment and things like that, it's a great time to support Comicscape, support creators like Drew Love. They're making good comics the old school way, and they're trying to bring comics back to the fans, and I can appreciate that. And I always appreciate independent creators, no matter what your art is, and I will always support independent creators. So in the future, anybody have something they want spotlighted, please reach out, and I would gladly provide you the forum to do so. Wes, go ahead and let the folks know where they can find you.
I am Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast, where we talk about pop culture, current events, occasional conspiracy theories, occasional car talk, and I vlog about whatever the heck I want to. And I am found on youtube.com/Wes Moody Webcast, all one word, twitch.com/Wes Moody Webcast, all one word, and at Twitter, Wes Moody 10. Thank you, my friends.
And of course, last but not least, we've got Sith Lord 3827, better known as JJ. JJ, why don't you tell the fine folks what you knew around YouTube and how they can chit chat with you.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy JJ. Most of them a mod, first and foremost. That's what I am. You can find me most of the time over on Mary Mayhem's channel. You'll find me in the chat. I'm the one that'll knock you over the head with a wrench if you get step out of line. But sometimes she's nice enough to let me on a stream or two, and then every once in a while you'll catch me on Honstar's channel for bi-weekly streams, Name That Tune, and Jackbox Games. And then every once in a while you might find me over on Mandy Summers' channel. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe the campaign is shut, but I believe you're still able to get the book. Go check out Wart the Wizard. As you can check out my avatar, my avatar, me and Honstar both back the drawn ends here. This is my character in Wart the Wizard. He's a toy salesman, and also you can find me right there. You can see it by my name at SithLord3827 on Twitter. Sometimes I tweet, sometimes I retweet, sometimes I don't do anything. It's a lottery. It's a crapshoot. Come check it out. You'll find out. And Drew, thanks for having me, even though I was late. I apologize for that.
Absolutely, no problem. And of course, guys, make sure that you check me out. I have obviously this YouTube channel. You can find me on Twitter at Supreme Heretic. I also write for The Great Bounding Into Comics, and I am the managing editor, senior writer for sickestofall.com. And make sure you check out sickestofall.com, and you can get your pop culture and current events news there, and also your pop culture news on Bounding Into Comics. All right, It was a great discussion. I appreciate the gentleman hanging out with me tonight. And most of all, I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, chat. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone else. You guys were awesome. As always, you brought it strong tonight. And I appreciate each and every one of you and your great support. And much love, guys. Till next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you probably Thursday for the Pegasus Actual Podcast. Good night.
All right.
Night.
See ya.